You know, for decades, the flying car was always just around the corner. Well, guess what? It's 2026 and the future is here. But, and this is the important part, the flying car revolution isn't happening the way science fiction sold it to us. The real story? Oh, it's way more interesting.
And this quote, it just nails it. We're talking about a transition from science fiction to a functional component of how we get around. Flying cars are no longer a what if. They are becoming a real part of our global transportation network. And this whole shift from dream to reality, it's happening a lot faster than you might think.
So yeah, after all those years of cool-looking prototypes and big promises, 2026 is the year. It's the moment we move from just concepts on paper to a pre-commercial reality. The question is no longer if these things can fly, but how we're actually going to integrate them into our lives.
And look, you know this is for real because the money is flowing in. I mean, serious money. The market is just exploding, jumping from over $14 billion to nearly $19 billion in just a single year. That's a 31.7% growth rate. That's not hype. That's a massive vote of confidence from investors who are betting big that this technology is ready for takeoff.
Okay, so what's actually powering this whole boom? What's the magic behind the curtain? Well, it didn't just happen overnight. It was really unlocked by two, and these are absolute game changers, two key breakthroughs that finally cracked the code for electric flight. First up, we've got the superconducting motor. And you gotta understand, this isn't just a slightly better electric motor. It is a complete reimagining of what's possible. For any aircraft, especially one that has to lift straight up, the power-to-weight ratio is everything. It is the holy grail. And these new motors deliver immense power in an incredibly lightweight package, finally solving a problem that has stumped engineers for years.
And this number right here is the magic ingredient, 20 kilowatts per kilogram. So what does that even mean? Well, think of it like a featherweight boxer who can suddenly punch like a heavyweight champion. For years, this was the wall, the biggest hurdle, getting enough power without the aircraft weighing a ton. Well, this tech just smashes right through that wall.
And just look at this comparison to really get it. We are not talking about a small, incremental improvement here. We're talking about double the power density of the older motors, and it's running at an almost perfect 99% efficiency. This literally rewrites the rulebook for electric aircraft, making longer flights and heavier payloads a real possibility.
All right, so the second piece of the puzzle is, of course, the battery. We've moved way beyond the standard lithium-ion stuff you have in your phone, but here's the real kicker. It's the flash charging. Being able to recharge in under 15 minutes, that is absolutely critical. I mean, think about it. For an air taxi service to actually make money, you can't have your multi-million-dollar vehicle just sitting on the ground charging for hours. You need a fast turnaround, and this tech finally delivers.
Okay, so we've got these incredible motors, these amazing batteries. The tech is here, it's ready. So the big question is, why aren't we all hopping and flying Ubers to get to work? Well, because taking a brilliant piece of technology out of the lab and into our crowded cities means you have to face some major, real-world roadblocks on the ground.
And really, it boils down to four big ones. First, there's the red tape. Getting approval from aviation authorities is a super long and crazy expensive process. Second, infrastructure. I mean, where are these things going to land? Cities need a whole network of vertiports and the massive power grids to charge them. Third, and this is a big one, public acceptance. People have very real concerns about safety and especially about noise. And finally, yeah, even with the new tech, batteries are still a challenge, especially when it comes to range and keeping them cool.
And that noise problem, man, that could be a total deal breaker. This isn't just some theory either. Noise complaints were a huge reason the planned air taxi service for the 2024 Paris Olympics got delayed. See, even if they're quieter than helicopters, they are not silent. And if you can't solve the noise problem, you just can't operate over a dense city. End of story. So, this brings us to the big question, right? Given all these challenges, especially for the urban air taxi dream, where is this multi-billion-dollar revolution actually going to start? If it's not buzzing over our cities, then where? And the answer? Well, it might surprise you. This isn't about replacing your Uber ride. It's about complementing a helicopter. And this is where the whole story flips on its head. The first wave of this revolution, it has absolutely nothing to do with getting you across town faster. It's all about taking on jobs that are currently done by that familiar workhorse of the sky, the helicopter.
So, this is the twist. This is the revolution's unexpected first mission. The first wave isn't these sleek, fully electric air taxis we all picture. No, it's a whole different class of vehicle, a hybrid VTOL.
And the reason they're ready to go right now is because they're not trying to solve that super complex city problem. They're built for a completely different job.
I mean, just look at this comparison. It says it all. These hybrid BTOs can operate at a 70% lower cost than a typical helicopter. They're up to 100 times quieter, and they slash emissions by up to 80%. But honestly, the biggest win might just be flexibility. They don't need a fancy airbase, they can use short runways, helipads, even unprepared dirt fields. They're just flat out cheaper, quieter, and way more versatile.
And it's that flexibility that unlocks all of these real-world, right-now missions. We're talking about crucial stuff like border security, disaster relief, getting medics and water where they're needed fast, cargo logistics, and even resupplying ships out at sea. You know, these are all jobs that are currently being done by expensive, loud, and frankly, aging helicopter fleets. These hybrids can step in and handle these routine tasks way more efficiently.
So yeah, I get it. This might not sound as glamorous as hailing a flying taxi in the middle of a big city, but this is actually the most critical, most strategic first step. This is how the revolution really starts. Not with a big, flashy bang, but with a smart, practical solution to problems we already have. So this is the real roadmap to that future we all imagine. It's a step-by-step plan. Step 1, you prove the tech is safe and reliable on these less complicated, non-urban missions. Step 2, you use that rock-solid safety record to build trust with the public and the regulators. Step 3, you use the money you're making from those operations to fund the insanely expensive build-out of city infrastructure. And only then, once that foundation is solid, do you start scaling up to that urban air mobility dream.
So the takeaway is this. The flying car is absolutely here. It's 2026. The technology is real. The money is real. But the revolution isn't starting where we all thought it would. It's happening in these less flashy, but far more practical ways. Which leaves us with one final big question to chew on. The revolution is here, but have we all been looking in the right sky?